Hello and welcome back to The Movies Made Us Do It. Me and Matt are back. How are you, Matt?
I'm pretty good, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm excited to talk about ginger snaps.
Ooh.
We were talking week before last, or maybe it was last week, about what to do. And you decided horror, and at first we were like maybe vampires, but it was like, oh, maybe werewolves, and then it came down to The Howling and
Yep.
ginger snaps. And I was like, let's go with ginger snaps purely because I'd watched The Howling recently, and I thought The Howling's a great movie. We'll definitely review.
Yeah,
obviously.
we'll cover that at some point, I'm sure.
But I hadn't seen Ginger Snaps for so long, and I was like, actually, it'd be really fun to rewatch Ginger Snaps and talk about it. And so here we are.
The scariest thing for me was we were talking about it, and I said, yeah, it'd be nice to do a slightly more, modern movie that's not that old.
Yeah.
And then we looked at when it came out, it's like, oh, right, it's 20 odd years old. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, and funny enough, for a this always happens to me when I watch a movie at the start of the next decade. You watch something from 1990 and you're like, oh, it's a 90s movie, and then you watch it and you're like, wow, this is really 80s, because of course it is. It's like 1 year on from the 80s, and this like felt so late 90s to me. It's a 2000 movie, but it felt like 97. But did you see Ginger Snaps in the cinema?
I did, yeah.
Cool. I did not.
I went to see it. It's great.
First impressions, you liked it off the bat, or?
Oh yeah, completely straight away. Loved it straight away. It's a great movie. I don't think I saw.
It's
the other
really
two.
Fun. I've seen the other two. The second one is this is a movie that shouldn't have a sequel, obviously.
No,
so the second one, they do Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, or rather Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 did this, where Ginger is just an apparition. She appears occasionally, and it's about obviously the other sister having the lycanthropy and dealing with it. And then the third one, they were like, well, what if the sisters but medieval or some shit?
No, it's Frontier, isn't it?
Was it Frontier? I can't even remember.
Frontier,
I've seen that one once, but I do not remember a goddamn thing about it.
So I've seen the second one a couple of times, and I've only seen I think, like you, I've probably seen the third one only once as well.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying it, but I don't remember liking it an awful lot. Obviously, not enough to go back to it, so...
It was one of those movies that I watched, and I was like, yeah, that was okay, and then I forgot everything about it. Don't remember a goddamn thing about it. But
I don't think either of those made it to the cinema either. I think both of those were...
No, I think they were all DVD.
Straight to video.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But the original Ginger Snaps has always had a fond place in my heart. I first saw it at someone's house. So I guess they had it on DVD or rented it. But yeah, I always thought it was fantastic. But you know what's interesting is because, unlike The Howling, which is a film I do revisit occasionally, it's been ages since I revisited Ginger Snaps, and I'd forgotten quite a lot of it. And it's all far better than I thought it was going to be. So I was pleasantly surprised.
That's all good signs, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
The only thing I'd sort of really forgotten is just how funny it is. I mean, I remember it being quite funny in places. I remember a lot of Ginger's lines being hilarious.
Yes.
But the relationship between their mother and them is
my favorite.
Great on some people, but for me, I find it hilarious.
Oh no, I think it's hilarious. I absolutely love the dad. Like, does he have a single line of dialogue in the entire movie?
Yeah.
I don't think he says anything. He's pretty much, most of that movie is him just looking kind of lost and awkward.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so funny because he just looks completely out of his depth. He's like, I've got two daughters. I don't understand what the fuck they're going through at all. He's just like, he's usually there with like a chicken leg or something in his mouth, just like, I don't know.
And he has
great.
He has that perpetual look of someone who's like, I just
completely
want it
out of his
like,
depth. Yeah, he's
I
like, can
want
we
my dinner
just?
in peace and not think. But that also adds to the sadness of
Oh no,
the
it
movie.
does. Of course, it
They
does. Yeah.
clearly the parents clearly have nothing in common. They don't look like they
No.
talk, do anything
No.
really together.
Well, shall we get?
Mimi Rogers is great. She's hilarious. Which is
She's
why
terrific.
She took the script because she said it was really funny.
Yeah, and it is. It is. But yeah, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
Cool. So we open on quite kind of it's like rural countryside, isn't it? And then it kind of moves into the town. Yes. And then we see the back gardens, and we see people like raking leaves and going about their daily lives. And then you've got some lady kids raking leaves with her son playing with something.
Yeah, and you've got kids playing hockey, which is immediately you go, okay, we're in Canada then.
Yes, yeah, we're in Canada for sure. We'll set the tone immediately. You've got the doting mother who's like, totally in love with her boy, smiling that her boy's playing with something. He kind of smears his face at one point. He's got blood on his face. And she's like, "Oh, what are you playing with, Timmy?" And it's an entire dog paw. Yeah. And she is obviously massively disturbed as she goes around the corner and she finds the twisted, disgusting remains of this dog, which has been torn in half. There's just gore and blood everywhere. Poor which Baxter. Again, poor Baxter. I was surprised at how gory this film was, and I'm not sure because I think I'm watching now the uncut version, which I may have never watched before. So maybe it's more gory because of that. But I was surprised at how gory this was. And it then cuts to credits.
No, it doesn't. We actually don't get the credits yet. It then cuts to the garage door opening and Bridget coming in.
But you get the company logos come up, and then it comes out with Ginger Snaps, company logo, Ginger Snaps, then the garage door opens and we reveal her coming out with she's coming out with a chainsaw, right? And fuel.
Oh, I can't remember what she's holding now, but
I think because they're doing the suicide thing, aren't they? So she's coming out with things to kill her sister with.
And I like her line that she says is Baxter's fertilizer.
Yeah, and no one gives a shit. This woman comes out carrying her son, covered in blood, screaming manically.
All the kids look up from the hockey and then just go back to playing.
They're kind of amused. Some of them smile. And it's just a common occurrence, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, it seems that pets are dying all the time around this area.
Why are any of you leaving your pets outside at this point? Like, just don't do it. So yeah, she heads inside and she sees Ginger, and as you said, she says Baxter's fertilizer. Ginger is she has a knife and she's looking to cut herself. Yeah. She talks about.
She says.
Wrists are for girls.
Girls, yeah. I'm gonna cut my throat, basically.
Yeah. And then she says, I love when she then turns to her sister and she's like, "You should hang."
Yes. Yeah. And what I like is this whole thing just sets up that character so well because you get Bridget immediately being the forceful one that says, "This is for girls. I'm gonna go out this way. You should go out this way." And Bridget's reaction is not to be horrified by the thing. What she's horrified by is the idea of her hanging there while people just laugh at her.
Yes, she thinks they're going to be laughed at for their suicide. Whereas Ginger, on the other hand, thinks they're going to be the coolest. It's like it's the most ultimate rebellion thing you could do to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
we made a pact when we were 8. And
yes.
Think, Jesus Christ, 8? Fucking hell.
Do you? I bet you've got it written down. Do you know the pact bit?
It is.
I knew you'd have it.
Out by 16, but dead on the scene, together forever.
That's right. And they've got the scars on their palms where they've obviously done this numerous times. And well, it doesn't last long because you cut to Ginger and she's dead. She's been impaled by a fence post and there's just blood everywhere.
Yeah, and I like she says, "Oh, there's too much blood."
Yeah, yeah. So Bridget's out there with a camera, and it then cuts, and we just see to this music.
You get the credits, and you
get the credits.
All
the suicides.
Pictures of them, yeah, which is fucking awesome. And it's such a brilliant way to start the movie, just to show the lengths that these girls have gone to.
Yeah, it's really creative.
Their deaths, yeah. You get them in a freezer. You've got them.
The hanging one is actually really fucking disturbing as well.
The hanging one is really, and the one of them sat at like a tea party with like bleach and things on the table, and then and then you've got the ones with all the pills lying around them, and they're really really good.
But we cut to, from the credits, a presentation, and it turns out this was I guess a media presentation for school.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me laugh because I was like, I was a goth kid in school.
Yep.
Knew plenty of goth kids in school, or at least a few. And I wouldn't have put it past a few people to have done this in school. I could imagine some kids being like, yeah, this would be fucking rebellious and cool thing to do, you know? And the kids are all kind of like amused. The teacher is horrified.
Yeah.
He's just like, I hate this, don't I? I think I hate this.
Yeah, I like the teacher does a really good job of his expression. It's like at first he sort of like thinks, you can see that it's sort of like, well, I see what you've done there, and then sort of slowly, it's like he's thinking about it, and he's just getting more and more. He's like, well, that was disturbing, and then he sort of just goes, actually, meet me in my office later, both like separate.
Yes, so certainly not together. You do get one of the drop kids, I can't remember his name. He wants to see more of the suicide pictures of Ginger. I guess because he's a horny teen, but it does set him up as a real fucking weird piece of shit quite early on.
Yeah, well, it's Jason. It's Jason.
Jason, that's right.
Yeah, and but then again, that's horny teenagers. It's like
yeah, I guess.
And I think this is the very first sort of chink in the girls' relationship, because
yes, she's getting attention now because it cuts to the hockey field, doesn't it? And first of all, he's staring at Ginger.
Yeah, but before that, when he says that, you cut to Bridget.
Oh yes,
Bridget's like, ugh, gross. And then you cut to Ginger, and she's like,
kind of smiling. She's kind of like,
she's like, oh, because no one's clearly ever said anything remotely like that to Ginger before, and you know, it's a sort of, oh, that's actually quite a good thing. But you know, play it cool. She immediately, like, you know, sort of tries to, you know, neutralize her face, or, you know.
Yes. Yeah. So she notices that she's being eyed up by Jason, and she mentions it to Bridget, who's clearly unimpressed. But then we see the rivalry between her and the cool girls. They start talking about how they're going to die, doesn't she? Doesn't Bridget start listing the ways that
they do that?
The death by peroxide or whatever. Yeah.
Fortunately for her, one of it's Trini, isn't it, the girl?
Mm-hmm.
Trini, one of her friends is walking by and hears what they say. Of course, she goes.
That's right.
Says. Of course, Bridget is getting back problems at this point. She's got her back's hurting, and she's
getting cramps, isn't she? She's
getting cramps, and she doesn't know why. It's just backache, and of course, Bridget's like, "What's wrong with you? Why is your back aching?" He's like, "I don't know."
Yeah. And of course, the kids are the boys are happy because she's arching her back, and you know.
Yeah.
So the hockey match begins, and Bridget gets knocked down, doesn't she? And of course, as it pans back, we see that she actually falls into half of a dog.
Yeah.
And it's just then covered in blood.
We should really say this is one of the movies that I imagine Does the Dog Die site tells you, yeah, just avoid this one because
many
lots of dogs die
times.
in this movie.
Yeah.
This is not a movie for dog lovers.
I don't think a single dog survives this movie, and there's quite a lot of dogs in this movie.
No. Yep.
So speaking of dogs, though, after getting cleaned up, Ginger and Bridget start to plot, and Bridget suggests that they steal the girl's dog and pretend that it's dead to fuck with her.
And Ginger does threaten traditions, don't touch my sister again, sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
This is also the first sort of interaction you get with the caretaker as well. The caretaker's giving Bridget like a cloth to wash her face with.
Yes.
And Ginger's like, I hate the way he looks at you, sort of thing.
Yeah. So they're spying on Trina, and we see a van pull up, a mysterious van, and hand off some drugs. And Trina's obviously all over the guy, and of course that also gives them some thought. They're kind of looking for chinks in her armor at this point.
Yeah.
Looking for ways to get their own back. So yes, we then get, I think his Jason comes up to them, doesn't he, in the parking lot, and he basically tries to ask Ginger out, and she kind of shoots him down. Primarily, you get the impression because Bridget's there and she can't.
Yeah.
If Bridget wasn't there, it might have gone.
You can tell
might have gone differently.
Ginger's
interested.
She's beginning to be sort of at least think about it as in a relationship with a boy might not be that as bad as she thinks it is.
Yeah. So they head home. And his first introduction to the mother, she is out in the car with her flowers, which will come up again later. And you get that quote from Bridget, and she's like, "God, I hate our gene pool."
Because Pamela, their mum, she's like the sort of 50s housewife, isn't she? She's sort of like
yeah,
always pottering, and she doesn't swear, and she's Susie housewife, isn't she? She's complete.
She is, yeah.
And they're like absolutely horrified by her.
Yeah. And at dinner, she asks Ginger, she's like, why does your back ache? Why does your back hurt? And she's like, oh, being dead. And of course, this is because their school project of playing dead. But her mum is like overjoyed. She's like, oh, do you think it might be cramps? She's like super, super excited that her daughter's maybe coming of age. And, she's kind of makes Ginger cringe. Essentially. Because she's like over-explaining. She's like, it's nothing to be scared of. It's the most normal thing in the world. And I think Ginger comes back with something like, it could be spinal cancer. Something like that. And Bridget's like, awesome. Nice one.
Yeah. And this is the first that time you get the dad, like,
I love him so much.
I'm sort of eating. Please don't talk about weird things like, God forbid, menstruation.
Don't talk about menstruation at the dinner table, please. I'm trying to eat. I love when so Ginger swears, and she gets sent to her room, and Bridget leaves with her, and her mum says, like, you're not joined at the hip, like, you don't, you can do other things, but she obviously follows her sister. And as they leave, the mum's like, don't go out, and he's like, they never go out. The dad's like, they never go out, don't worry about it. But of course they have a plan. So Ginger has all of the blood and the guts from their suicide video or photography, I guess. And the plan is they're going to fake the dog death. They're going to fake the death of what's her name? I've already forgotten her bloody name.
Trina's name?
Trina, yes, Trina. They're going to fake Trina's dog's death. And as they're walking through the park, they find a dead dog, which looks exactly like Trina's dog. So they're like, "Oh, great, that solves that problem. All we need to do is transport this dog." And she's like, "Hey, Bridget, grab a leg."
Which she literally does. The leg comes away in her hand.
Yeah, she literally does. And of course, blood goes all over the place, and she's like, "Oh God, Ginger, you got some blood on you." Of course, pointing at her leg. But of course, it's not blood from the dog. She's obviously menstruating. And she says, "Oh God, I've got the curse." So they were, if I remember rightly, they were having this thing where they're proud that they're not menstruating. They're like, we're proud to not.
So they're sort of like, well, the thing is, Bridget's late because I think it's because sorry, not Bridget's late. Ginger's late because Bridget is younger. She's skipped grade, which is why. So she's
that's why they're in the same class. Yeah,
really bright, but she skipped one. She's in the set. They're in the same sort of classes together.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that they make it sort of clear that they have, that the rest of their class is already been through this, and they haven't.
Yes. Yeah. So as they're
the whole idea with them that they don't want to grow up. They don't want to.
No. They're happy. They're happy being the age they are forever.
Yeah.
They want to Peter Pan themselves. So they then hear an angry dog coming from, noises coming from around them. Sounds like they're kind of being surrounded by a dog or circled by a dog. And then I always took this to be like a direct American Werewolf reference. The way that it attacks is exactly like Jack on the Moors, like right on the side of the shoulder. Like it almost looks like shot for shot they were kind of going for that particular shot.
Yeah.
Because it is quite a startling shot where it's just kind of
it's
at the corner.
It's a real stunt. Christ, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a real bam and she's gone sort of thing.
Yes. And then what follows? She gets dragged into the woods and Bridget runs after her and what follows is a ludicrously like gory and prolonged tearing apart of Ginger to where you are just like, how is she still alive?
Yeah.
But then of course later on. Oh yeah, and then attacked like about 3 more times.
Yeah, she gets dragged away more than once. But what I love is Bridget. She gets dragged off, and Bridget.
You can see Bridget wants to run, but she doesn't.
Yeah, Bridget's terrified, and Emily Perkins does
wonderful.
I mean, they're both amazing in this movie, but Emily Perkins does scared, but sort of determined in an amazing way. She has this sort of really good expressive face and she overcomes her fear and she screams Ginger's name and runs after her, and
she attacks the wolf.
Her. Yeah, she stood there at first, but she does attack the werewolf. She does hit with her bag and trying to get this wolf off.
Yeah. Ginger is like severely mauled to where you're like, because the next shot is them running out of the woods and you're like, how is she even running at this point?
That is one of the only things that you do. The amount she's been mauled
is insane.
It is not. She shouldn't really get up.
No, but then I do think, but you do realize. Yeah, but you do realize later that obviously she's been infected, and if it's quick, you're like, yeah, maybe she's healing immediately, or I don't know. You could hand wave it,
Yeah, but it does kind of say that her only injury does seem to be the tear on her shoulder, and you're like, no it's not. Like full on worrying her, like her stomach should have been open.
Yeah, it bit her on the stomach. There's definitely a shot of her leg getting slashed as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shots, and then, but you're right. Afterwards, they're like, "Oh, my shoulder," and you're like, "Really, really, just your shoulder?" But fine, whatever. It's an awesome shot, and I do think there was a lot of that. Hey, what if we did American Werewolf in London, where the death keeps going and it's just overly gory, and I get it. Yeah. It's cool.
And the looks you do get of the werewolf are really fucking good. I really like the design.
I like the design. I was saying before we went on air, and we'll get to it later, I think there's only one shot in this movie that looks really kind of dodgy with the wolf. Right at the end. Other than that, I think it's very well done. They within their budget, they filmed it sensibly. It looks good. Yep. It's practical. Thank God. If they'd used early 2000s cheap CGI, this would have been terrible. American Werewolf in Paris is what comes to mind.
Yeah. John Fawcett, the director, said that there was no way he wanted CG. He wanted it all to be practical, and thank God he did. Because he's apparently a really big Cronenberg fan, which you could really see.
Yep, you could totally see that.
And he cites The Fly as his inspiration for Bridget's transformation, which
solid inspiration. Yeah,
you can really see.
Yeah.
But actually, it's funny that you bring up American Werewolf in Paris. Because I think the problem with American Werewolf in Paris is that the idea of the wolves in that were fine. The execution was fucking terrible.
Yeah, the CGI is unwatchable. It was unwatchable when it came out. It was terrible when it came out.
Yeah, if I remember the interviews with the effects, or at least what the director, whatever it was at the time, was saying that they wanted them to be more ape-like than wolf.
Yeah, you're making a sequel.
Yeah,
idiot.
Yeah, I know.
It's a sequel to a movie. Make your own fucking movie.
If it was, that's the funny thing is, I like the idea of having werewolves that didn't have fur, that were more ape-like, because they're humans, so that they're more ape.
Yes.
But then you go, but that's not what the werewolf looked like in the first movie.
It's a different movie. You're talking about making a different movie, and that's fine. Go make it. But yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we see here with this werewolf, is that it's not fully fur covered. It does have fur.
I got a bit of fur, yeah.
Yeah, it's got fur around the sort of the head and stuff, and on the shoulders and things like that. But it's mostly naked. It's gross in that way as well.
It reminds me of the werewolf from American Werewolf in London when it's halfway through the transformation. Like before but the bit when David's the face finally comes out, and before it's got the fur. That's kind of what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
But anyway, they make it out of the woods and run across a main road. The wolf follows, and then the Weedmobile obliterates the wolf. It comes out of nowhere. Yeah. And of course, Ginger and Bridget just run away. His car is covered in guts and bits. It just popped like a balloon.
Yeah.
And of course, this is our first introduction, or at least visually, we see his face of Sam, because we saw his hand before, but we didn't see him.
Yeah.
And of course, he's high, so he just gets out of the car like, whoa.
Yeah.
And he just sees what he thinks is a wolf anyway, or a dog. And we'll come to what his suspicions are later, but he kind of thinks it's a dog, and you do have a moment where he looks at it and he is a bit like, that's a little odd,
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile,
let's mention something later, which is actually quite funny.
Yeah. Meanwhile, and I love a reoccurring theme of this movie is the parents don't fucking notice anything that's going on, and there's so much horrific shit going on around them. Ginger is brought home, and she is dying. She is covered in blood. She can barely fucking move. She's taken to. They've got a little outhouse bedroom thing, haven't they? And she's taken in there, and she's got this horrendous gash on her shoulder, which Bridget kind of reveals. She kind of pulls her top down and to reveal it. And she starts touching it, and she's like, does that hurt? And she's like, no. And she's like, that doesn't make any sense. And she's like, look, I'm going to go and get help. And then immediately Ginger sits up and she's like, "It's fine. Don't get help. I'm all right. Just leave it to me. I'm okay. I'll be fine." So almost immediately you're like, this is weird. You were just torn to shreds and now you're absolutely fine. Which is why I think you can kind of get away with her walking away from it, because it is clearly very quick how fast this healing process starts. It's almost an immediate infection, you know?
Yeah.
So kinda. But she's clearly she's covered in blood and she's quite a mess. I think she then kind of passes out on Bridget, doesn't she? And Bridget gets the Polaroid. She gets the Polaroid out of the camera and sees that she actually took a photo of the wolf's face. It's like his eye and his jaw, isn't it? That were in the shot. So she's immediately like, well, that's a, you know, whatever the fuck that is. You know. And yeah, so then I think we cut to I guess it's a biology class, and they're talking about a virus, and there's like an informational kind of video on the virus, and how it spreads, and then it cuts. I think masterfully. So some of the cuts in this are very good. It then cuts to them buying tampons. And you know. It's clearly Ginger's like arched over now. She's in agony with these cramps. She's like, these cramps are terrible. And she's like, you know, because Bridget's like, are you sure about this? And she's like, I'm like, literally at this point, anything. Like, I need to get this sorted.
And she's more angry with the fact that she has these cramps and that she's menstruating than she is that having been attacked by a werewolf.
Yeah. So she goes up to buy them. They bump into Jason, and Jason's like, "Hey, look, you know, tell me to fuck off if you want, but I've got 3 sisters, and honestly, nothing works better than weed. It's like, just smoke your troubles away."
Yeah.
And again, he's kind of rebuffed quite severely by Ginger. However, cut to Bridget leaving school and walking past the van and hearing noises from in the van. And we cut inside and we see that Ginger is actually smoking weed with the guys in the back. Bridget is meanwhile checking out the front of the van, which is pretty fucking knackered. When Sam arrives, and they have a brief exchange. He comes up to her and she's immediately like, "I don't want drugs," and he's like, "I'm not offering you drugs. That's not, you know." And she's just like, I was wondering what hit your car. And he says immediately, he's like, "Well, officer, it looked like a lycanthrope to me."
Yeah.
And she says, "I know what that is."
And he says, "Yeah, right." And she says, do you often see werewolves?" And he's like, "Oh, you do know what it is."
Yeah.
And he basically says that what is it? He says something along the lines of, he notices that it was there was something weird about having a circumcised penis or something.
I don't remember that. Does he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he says.
Oh, okay, he may well do. The thing was upside down by the time he got to the bloodied corpse, so yeah, maybe. So anyway, they hear laughing from in the car, the van, and so Sam goes around the back, and he's like, "What the fuck are you all doing in here?" And Jason's like, "Oh, we just needed somewhere to smoke." And he's like, "For fuck's sake, this is my drug dealing van. Get out." And so they all start getting out. Meanwhile, oh no, and then we get the dog, don't we? So Trina has her dog.
Trina turns up. Yeah, she turns up with her friends and the dog.
Which goes apeshit.
Yeah, immediately starts barking at Ginger.
So Ginger kicks it.
Yeah.
And walks away. And everyone's like, "Yeah, you're that was uncalled for." You know. So I think Ginger kind of retires to the toilets, and Bridget follows her, and she's like, "Look, Ginger's in the stall with the door closed, and we just see Bridget. It's a great shot of Bridget actually, where she's just like, look, I know it's more than cramps. Like, what is going on? What is happening? And she eventually just opens the door, and she sees that Ginger's scars are growing fur.
Yeah.
Sorry, what are you going to say?
Well, I'd say I think Bridget actually forces her way in. I think
she does. Yeah. She pushes the door open. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, Ginger's only concern is like, I can't have a hairy chest.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
This is ridiculous, And Bridget's like, you were bitten on a full moon, and now you're hairy. Like, clearly, we know what's going on. And Bridget kind of laughs it off. And she's like, I think she's like, oh, thank you for taking my nightmare so fucking seriously or something. She's just like, she thinks she's playing.
Yeah.
And Bridget's like, I'm not, I'm not playing. But then of course they hear dripping, and they look down, and of course Ginger is now bleeding all over the floor.
Yeah.
And obviously a shocking amount of blood. So they go to the nurse. The nurse, I mean, she's just doing her job, but she could have been less patronizing. That's all I'm going to say. She could have been less patronizing. Yeah. But she's like, oh, neither of you have had your period before, have you? And she's like, how old are you? And she's like, well, I'm 15, nearly 16. And she was brought up a class. So she's obviously a year younger. And the doctor or the nurse explains as patronizingly as possible that contractions and cramps are perfectly normal. You'll have a lot of blood initially, and then ultimately...
She's patronizing, but I actually thought she did a pretty good job of explaining what was going on.
No. She explained it really well. It was the tone. It was, but I mean, some people do just talk like that. So, it might just be,
Well, I think
might not be intentional.
It's also, I think it's a nurse thing, though. I think a lot of nurses are very practical people and would much rather just talk about it and not, be silly.
I remember nurses when I was a kid that were just fucking rude and just like, yeah, you're fine, leave. Like early 90s, you're just like, get on with it. Well, drink a Lucozade, move on.
I think the sort of the nurses that we had at school when we were kids, were probably not terribly well qualified and probably didn't really give a fuck.
Yeah, probably a teacher that's passed a first aid course. Meanwhile, or later, I guess.
But this is one of the things about this movie that not a lot of movies have tackled anyway, is the whole idea of menstruation and things anyway, because it's still weirdly a topic
taboo.
It's still weirdly a topic that most
it's a bizarre thing, and it's a bizarre thing because like obviously it's perfectly natural, and why shouldn't we talk about these things just openly? It is weird, and I think this film does a good job of that. I actually saw today, and I hadn't considered it before, but they, someone said that this was effectively a purposeful, almost remake of Carrie. And I thought, actually, now that you mention it, I hadn't thought about it, and then I read the quote and I was like, oh, actually, I can kind of see that, actually.
Yeah, it's got very similar,
similar topics, and it touches on some similar things.
Yeah. And I think mainly that it gets that comparison because there aren't many other movies that even remotely
the two movies that talked about it. Yeah.
So and it's also that whole idea of bodies changing anyway, and in both respects,
films.
In this movie, it's the physical change of not only the body naturally but unnaturally.
Yes.
And with Carrie, it's a similar thing because it's not only is her body changing, it's her mind that's changing. It's her powers that are beginning to materialize as well.
And I think Carrie is perfect showing that mind changing with body, and I think this movie does the body stuff incredibly well.
Yeah.
That kind of feeling of like, obviously I can't relate to that, but I would imagine it's terrifying, that first that first menstruation. And I think this movie really nails that, like, oh my god, what are these fucking changes I'm going through, I think it does that very well, and it communicates that very well. I think it's great.
It also does that, the whole sort of we get the whole horny boy things as well. So it's not just.
Oh god, yeah.
I mean, you get it's that perfect stage of when girls are starting to notice boys because of changes. Boys are starting to notice girls because of changes.
And
I think it does a really good job of that. And sure,
yeah.
it's because it does show how stupid boys can be, and how, because we are. We're idiots, especially when we're teenagers. We're completely ruled by our fucking hormones.
Oh yeah, I'm still a fucking idiot, so
Yeah. Something's never
changed. No, something's never changed. So you get the mum's doing laundry, and she comes across her underwear, which is just covered in blood, soaked in blood.
Yeah.
And she just kind of like smiles, and then goes to get the spray to start trying to clean.
Yeah. Just humming to herself while she's
humming
spraying
to herself.
Down.
And she's then made a massive song and dance out of this. She's gone and bought Ginger's favorite cake.
Yeah.
And like she's like making this huge deal. Ginger immediately looks at Bridget. And she's like, "You fucking ratted. You told her." And she's like,
"Yeah,
no, I didn't say anything." And already you're starting to see a more feral side to Ginger, like the way she's eating the meat and stuff. She's kind of like got the meat in her mouth, and she's kind of like aggressively ripping at it and things. And
also her attitude towards Bridget is changing as well. She's becoming.
It is, yeah.
Much more standoffish with her, and much more suspicious of her.
Yeah. They excuse themselves from dinner, and Bridget confronts her downstairs again, and Ginger says, "Look, I'm getting my period. It's nothing more than that. It's not anything more than these changes are perfectly natural. There's nothing unnatural about this. It's nonsense." And Bridget finally says, "There's definitely something wrong with you." And Ginger's really, really harsh. She kind of looks at her and she's like, "Yeah, do you know what? I do see a monster. She's like, I see her. She's got green eyes, and she's really, really quite nasty to Bridget." And yeah, so they kind of
which is clearly the first time that they've ever had any sort of falling out.
Yeah, you get the impression they've always been a united team force, until now. And yeah, so they've had their first their first real falling out. Bridget starts to do her research. She looks into both menstruation and werewolves.
Yeah.
And you see her researching both, so she's trying to get an understanding of both. And she's watching some really awful werewolf movie.
Yeah.
Where the guy ends up, does he like blow its head off with a shotgun or something?
The shotgun, dude. Hey, I would have watched it. Looked fine to me.
Oh god, man, I've watched way worse than that back in the day. Practically any horror movie you could find on TV on any channel late at night, early in the morning, you got some real shit,
Yep.
It's like redneck zombies kind of tiers of terrible, terrible movies. Anyway, Ginger goes to school the next day, all sexy. She's totally changed her dress sense. She's got grey streaks in her hair. Tight clothing, complete opposite to where, because she was wearing hoodies and stuff at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
Now she's fully sexualized now. She's, and all the guys are like, oh my god, and you can tell she's enjoying the attention now. She's kind of openly enjoying the attention. Whereas before, when she was on better terms with Bridget, she or before turning, she would have hid it, that feeling. Now she's being open with it, and she kind of like gets all of that attention and then walks past Bridget and kind of gives her the eye as she walks past, just to kind of be like, you saw that, and we see Bridget in the bleachers, and Ginger's just like all over Jason. She like takes him to the ground and starts kissing him on the floor, on the grass and stuff. And
I do love how aggressive she is with the jock. It's quite funny.
Well, that escalates rather quickly soon.
Oh yeah.
So Sam tracks down Bridget, and he kind of follows her, and he asks her for a light, doesn't he? And he said, "Look, I've been looking for you for like a week of my life. Could I have a second?" Which I thought was quite a good line. He's like, I've been looking for you for like a week of my life. Could you give me a sec?
He sort of reminds me of Josh Hartnett's character from The Faculty.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and very late 90s there as well, so it kind of works as a good comparison. Yeah, it kind of feels like the kind of role that maybe they were hoping they could get him for, and then didn't have the budget, presumably. Anyway, Sam says, "Hey, you dropped this," and of course it's the Polaroid of the werewolf. And he's like, so anyway, werewolves, they are apparently a thing, and he's like, I was wondering why you were running from it. It was obviously you two that were running from it. Why were you running from it? What was going on? And he even asks her name, and she doesn't respond. She won't give her any, and she won't give him any information whatsoever. So Bridget continues to keep track of the menstruation cycles. But one night she hears Ginger crying next to her, doesn't she? Oh no! Sorry, no, that's not yet. No, it's the tail, isn't it? It's the tail bit now, which is hilarious. So, she Ginger's asleep next to her, and she pulls Ginger's sheets down and checks and finds a small tail, which is now starting to grow, which I thought was pretty funny. Like it is. One of the things I do not remember of this movie, like you, until I rewatched it, is how much of the humor is in this movie. There are some really funny bits.
It's really dark humor, but it is really funny.
Yeah. So Bridget goes to see Sam, and she basically says, I need I want to talk to you, but you better swear you're not gonna call me a freak show or anything. He's like, I swear. And so Bridget says, look, I'm going through changes, and she basically makes out that it's her who has inherited the werewolf curse. And of course Sam is kind of open to it, because obviously he did see a fucking werewolf. He ran one over, so it's like I love when Bridget starts talking about, well, I need a gun and some silver bullets or something, and he's like, well, my van did a pretty good job of totaling one, so I think we necessarily need to worry about silver bullets at this point. And so Bridget's curious. She's like, is it like an infection? Does it transmit like a virus? Like, how does it work? And Sam's like, oh, biology, that's interesting, and he says, well, you're real, your problem's real, so the solution has to be real. It doesn't have to be death. There should be a way. And he's like, well, maybe a piercing, like a silver piercing, and he gives her his earring. He's like, look, the ancients thought that I love. He says the ancients thought that pure metals purified the blood. And she said, well, so they thought that about leeches too. And he was like, yeah, they do. They're right. They're right about that. And she's like, oh yeah, shit. Good point. I thought that was great.
Yeah. I think the difference is it's a case of, but leeches aren't the answer to everything. I think the old response was, if you this is wrong with you, have a leech.
Oh yeah, they overused them for sure, but they
it
do.
reminds me of the bit from, is it the first Blackadder, the second one, Bell?
Yeah,
where he goes to the doctor and he says, I prescribe a course of leeches. He says, course of leeches. You always prescribe a course of leeches. Because what do you want me to do? Put them down my pants or something? He says, no, nothing as awful as that. He goes, just pop one under your tongue and wait for it to dissolve.
Yeah. So Bridget heads home alone because I think she has another falling out with Ginger when Ginger's making out with Jason, right? And her mum consoles her with some cake and says, look, this is a very strange and confusing but exciting time for your sister. You know, your time will come and, you know, it's all fine. And of course, I like you said, I mean, the actress who plays Bridget, just her expressions are so good. Like, she does horrified. You know, the way she looks at her mother is like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think she's retired from acting now.
Oh, really? That's a shame.
She's a teacher, I think.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
A noble profession. Meanwhile, Ginger just tears the shit out of Jason in the back of a car. He's like, hey, let's slow down here. We're having, you know, I love the role reversal, you know. I love the role reversal. But we see her spine starts to protrude.
She says, what is it? You've got to be kidding, cave boy.
Yeah. But we see her spine starts to protrude from her back, and she violently attacks him. And I love the way this is cut together, because it then cuts to Bridget in bed, and she wakes up and hears crying. And she turns to see Ginger covered in blood. Yeah. And you immediately think, oh shit, she killed Jason. She straight up killed Jason.
Jason's chunky kibble.
Yeah. And Bridget's immediate thought is like, oh my God, did he hurt you? You know, has he done something to you? And then she touches her, doesn't she? And she runs away, and then she sees the blood on her hand. She turns the light on. She's like, oh my God. She goes into the bathroom, and she's just covered in blood and puking up blood into the toilet. There's just like blood everywhere. And Bridget's like, what the fuck happened? And she's like, Ginger's like, I had this cramp. And I thought it was for sex. I had this urge, and I thought it was for sex, but it wasn't. It was for eating savagely.
It was. She says murder. It's not the sex. It's basically to tear something apart to pieces. It's you know, that seems to be the only thing that I want to do.
And I love when Bridget asks where it is. She's like, it's next door, but before she says it next door, she has a hiccup. I thought was quite funny.
Yeah.
And of course it's revealed in the back garden, because she says it's next door in the garden. It's Norman, the dog. And she said, oh, he kept barking and barking, and I just, you know, couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first scene where you start to notice that her nails have gone all weird and
more claw-like than nails.
I do love how people in this movie ignore her teeth getting sharper and sharper, and her claws and stuff.
Like double sets of fangs and claws. But I guess part of it is, well, they're already weird kids anyway.
Yeah, maybe she's put something in her mouth to look like she's got more teeth, or she's wearing prosthetic. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. They like, people wouldn't put it past them to. You're right. Actually, that does make a lot of sense. I think, because even her parents wouldn't put it past her.
I think that's it. I think they get away with it basically because they're already
because of who they are,
and and this would maybe just be, oh, it's just another one of their projects, you know, another thing that they're going to do. And I think you do get the impression that the mother isn't completely clueless.
No, she's aware things are going on.
She's clearly ignoring a lot, but then you do get the impression she's doing that on purpose. She's not just being oblivious.
Yeah. So Bridget has the ring, and she's gonna pierce her belly button, Ginger's belly button, to try and hold it back. Ginger, of course, questions where she got it from, and she's like, "Oh, I found it. I just found
it." Yeah.
Yeah.
Which in a very sad way just reminds me of the young ones, and they were you get the whole Vivian. Where did you get that howitzer? I found it.
Yeah. So she pierces, and you kind of, it gets stuck, doesn't it? And you immediately see the eyes go at this point, don't they? Very briefly, you see that she kind of, she turns more. But then, of course, as soon as the ring is in place, she kind of stops, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm cool. Like, all good to go." So yeah, she's now got a piercing of silver, which presumably holds things back a little as the film kind of goes.
Yeah,
at least for a bit.
It looks like it might be doing something, but not too much.
I think it's enough to delay, because she transforms slower, doesn't she, from this point?
Yeah. And I think at this point, you should probably get the idea that this isn't your typical werewolf thing. This is not a
no.
This is not a nighttime transformation and then back into a human in the day sort of thing.
This is a permanent transformation.
This is a permanent transformation. Yeah, that whoever that boy or bloke was before that attacked them wasn't ever going back to what he was. They are It's a permanent transformation, and it's a for Ginger over the course of the movie. It's a slow thing, and we get. I think the director said it's overall. It's 13 stages.
Right.
That you see in the movie, so 13 different, I guess, stages of makeup and prosthetics as it goes through the movie.
Ah, cool. Yeah. So we get a shot is hockey day again, and we see Bridget is in the locker room taping Ginger's tail down before they go out. In the bleachers, Jason comes over covered in cuts, and they're like, "What the hell happened to you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ginger Fitzgerald rocked my world." And then he's just he's like clearly in agony, and the guy looks down and he's got blood on his jeans and is like obviously bleeding from everywhere. And he's like, "Oh, it's red ink, for fuck's sake," and he just kind of like painfully walks away.
I know the guy who plays him, Jason. He is. Have you ever seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
I love Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
He's Chad in that.
Yeah.
He's the awful. Well, he's basically the bad guy in that movie.
He is. He's the true villain.
Really funny in that as well. He's really good and funny in that.
Tucker and Dale is a rarely good funny movie. It's a very good movie.
It's great. I love that film. It's the running gag of that poor woman. They keep It's brilliant.
So Sam turns up and starts waving, and of course Trina thinks it's for her, and she's like, "Oh, hi, Sam," and then he's like, "Hey, Bridget, come here," and of course Bridget turns around and Ginger's like, "What the hell?"
Because of course it's all right for Bridget to fucking do it, but that's like for
well, that's the thing, isn't
Bridget.
it?
Yeah,
she's not happy about it when the roles are reversed. She doesn't look happy at all. And of course Trina's not happy either, obviously.
No.
But he says he's like, "Hey, I've been reading up on lycanthropy, and I have some thoughts." And Bridget's like, "What the hell? I'm in class right now." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, fine. Like, I thought this was important. Never mind." And he starts kind of wandering off, and she's like, "Could have handled that better." But yeah, so it's they start having an argument on the pitch, where she's like, hey, she's like, what did you say to him? And she's like, he's trying to help, he's trying to help. And she's like, he just wants to get in your pants, Bridget, but it's time for the game. And again, Trina and Bridget kind of go at it, and Bridget is pushed over by Trina. That's enough for Ginger. She starts growling and then takes Trina down and just starts punching her face in. Until the teacher stops her, basically. And of course Trina's just crying her eyes out, and she's got presumably a broken nose, or a bloody nose anyway. And then the teacher sends her to the principal or wherever. Get out of here. Oh, it's the guidance counselor they get sent to, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they say, we have a zero tolerance for violence and stuff, and of course, it's explained that it's it was to protect Bridget, and he's like, well, that doesn't make it any better. Like, what are we talking about? And meanwhile, Jason pisses blood. You get that shot of him going to the toilet, and it's just pure blood. He's walking down the corridor covered in blood, looking a complete mess. And of course, Bridget knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, my pen exploded, my red pen." But of course, she knows. So Ginger finally gets out of the counselor, and she's like, "Hey, Bridget, where's your camera?" And she's like talking about completely other things, and Bridget's like, "You infected Jason. Like, Jason's got it. You passed it on." And she says she's going to see Sam, and Ginger wants to come, and she's like, "Well, look, if you come, you've got to behave yourself,
Yeah.
And I think by this point she's made it clear that he thinks that it's her that's got it, not Ginger.
Yeah.
So Sam is not terribly pleased to see Ginger.
No.
Bridget obviously apologizes for telling him to go away when she was in class. Ginger's like, "Oh yeah, she's got this problem," and it's like being really obvious that it's not her that has the problem. Basically, she's just like as blatant about it as possible. And she just barges her way in, doesn't she? Because he's like debating whether to let her in or not, and she just barges her way into the room. Her whole personality is completely changing at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's literally becoming more monstrous. She's in almost every respect. She's becoming she's becoming a dick, basically.
yeah, pretty much. And they start talking about the is it Monk's Head plan? Monk's Hood. That's right, Monk's Hood. And he says, "Oh, it promotes white blood cell growth or something like that, doesn't it? And fights infections."
They mentioned that it's like an offshoot of wolfsbane, and that but it's not as poisonous as wolfsbane, and it's it can be good for you in very tiny doses, or that sort of thing. Basically, is what he says. And she's like, "Well, can you get some?" And he's like, "Well, it's it's perennial, and it's obviously not growing around right now."
Yeah. And Ginger's like, "Hey, look, if we can't get this sorted, she's totally fucked. Has she not told you that she's growing a tail?" And Sam looks at Bridget, and he's like, "You're growing a tail?" And Bridget's like, "Oh god, yeah, I guess so." Like, go along with it now.
But you get the impression that Ginger's only saying that,
Oh, she's just winding him up.
Yeah, she's winding up. She's jealous of that Bridget's getting attention.
Yeah, Bridget's getting attention from an attractive guy, and that it's fine when she's doing it, like you said. But when it's the other way around, now it's not okay. So after leaving, Ginger goes to have a bath, and we see that she's shaving her legs in the bath. She's now got very hairy legs, and she's just cutting herself to pieces doing it. She's like bleeding and stuff. And she's upset, and her mum bursts in, asking for. She's looking for something, I think. And she tells her to get out. She's like, "Get out!" And she's like, "Look, there's nothing. You haven't got anything that I haven't seen before." And she's like, "She's like, that's what you think." And then she's like, "Look, I'm just fat, okay? Just get out." And she's like, "Look, honey, those models, they're all on crack to be so thin, and that's the heroin." But she tells her to get out anyway, obviously. It's a great, again, a very common interaction between a teenager and their mother, right, at that age.
Yeah, I think so.
Trina confronts Bridget outside about the dog. She's like, "Where is my dog?" She's like, "He doesn't like you, doesn't like Ginger, and now he's disappeared. Where is it? Give me my dog back."
Do we get a scene of? I think we get the scene of the mum and the dad in bed, and she's got that. She's looking for she's got an article on. Was it? What's the article? Was it why do girls date dummies? And she's like, "I knew I had to keep this for some reason."
yeah. But Trina confronts Bridget, like I said, about the dog, and Ginger grabs her. And she starts kicking the shit out of her, and takes her into the kitchen, and she's like, properly like just terrifying her, and like slapping her on the head, and
covering up her mouth, and
yeah,
just genuinely terrifying her.
Yeah. And she starts talking about Sam as well, doesn't she? She's like, it's all about Sam with you two, and that's why she's here. She's jealous about Sam. But then Ginger says, "You picked him over me," and she tears the ring out and throws it away. So meanwhile, Bridget, not Bridget, sorry, Trina grabs a knife, right? Because she starts throwing up in the.
First off, she pukes on Ginger's hand, doesn't she? And
yes,
Ginger's
and then into the sink.
Disgusted by her, and then Trina picks a knife off the side,
but unfortunately slips on milk and caves her head in on the work surface. Which I remember confused me the first time I saw it, because it's quite a quick cut, and I thought she stabbed herself, but I wasn't sure where she stabbed herself. And then I'm rewatching it, I was like, "Oh, she actually hit the back of her head on the
work surface."
Yeah, it's quite a quick cut. I adore this scene. I love it. The parents come home from their shopping trip, and they're like, "Oh my god, there's a fucking dead body in the kitchen. How the hell are we going to hide this?" The solution is genius. They pretend to do the dead thing, and it's like, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
The mum's like, "What have I told you girls about never doing it in the house?"
Yeah, she's like, "Jesus Christ on a bicycle," I think is what she says.
Yeah.
And the dad again is just completely speechless. She's like, "Oh, it's corn syrup, Daddy. Would you like some?"
Yeah. I love the way she sat there looking up at him with this like little innocent face, but with a big, massive, cheesy grin, and she's just holding her bloodied claw hand out with just sort of like
just crimson,
trying to tempt her dad into having some of the corn syrup.
And of course her mum just shakes her head and she's like, "Oh, I better put the meat away," which of course Bridget's immediately like, "Shit." She's like, "Mum, I'll do that, and she runs after her mum. Her mum opens the freezer, and then Bridget, genius in a moment of like, how can I distract her, she's like, "Mum, what do boys want?" It's like, sorted. That's the one thing she could have said to him.
Or is it it must be after this bit that she does the thing with the article about boys dating dummies.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's after. It's after this scene, isn't it? But yeah, so crisis averted, at least for now. I mean, obviously the freezer is still full of dead body, but
not the first time the freezer's had a body in it, but
no. So they look in the freezer later that evening. or maybe in the morning, because she's now fully frozen. So it
Yeah.
must have been in there a while, I guess.
Must have been a couple of hours at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, we'll need to get a screwdriver to kind of like free her now, because she's stuck to the to the side of the freezer. And of course Bridget starts to go at it, but of course breaks off a few fingers by accident. And yeah, so they take the body out, and I think this where you get the scene with the mum, because they're doing it in the back garden and it pans to them in the bedroom, right? Just completely ignoring them.
Yeah.
Or completely oblivious to what's going on. So yeah, they decide to bury Trina in the greenhouse, or the outhouse. And yeah, I mean, like, Ginger doesn't really give a shit. Obviously Bridget is very concerned and annoyed. But yeah, I mean, obviously Bridget's now concerned that her sister, it's like, this is getting too big to hide now. When it was another dog,
yeah,
that was, that's been happening, right?
Yeah.
But now a person's gone, and the last person she argued with and you had a fight with was you. Doesn't look good.
Really.
And Bridget suggests they just get as far away as possible. She's like, I think we should get as far away from here as possible. And as it says that, the camera wonderfully pans along the grass until we see the two fingers that she cut are now lying in the grass. We see that signs have gone up for her now missing. And Bridget writes a letter from her mother saying that she's ill, right? That she's sick and can't go to school. And that's her plan now, is to just keep her home, keep them separated, keep her out of school and away from people. She's grabbed by Jason, who now is starting to clearly turn. He's now got acne as well, hasn't he? He's started, like, his hormones are in full.
Yeah. He's not looking good.
No.
He's got fangs as well now, I think, as well.
He's got acne and fangs, and his eyes are slightly going as well, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he's now completely turning and kind of going crazy. But he says it feels amazing. He's looking for Ginger, and he's like, I need to I need to see her, and he's all happy, and then he kind of almost breaks down, and he's like, I killed a dog last night, and he's kind of upset about it, and he's like, he's obviously unsure, he's confused. Now the caretaker fortunately breaks them up here. The poor caretaker, who I don't think is perving on her. I think he's just.
I don't think so either. I think
he's just an innocent caretaker.
Just a nice guy.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him. He's just a nice guy. Should have just never got involved. But yeah, so I think they have another awkward dinner scene, don't they? And they said, what did you do in school and stuff? They're just talking about school. Ginger's now gone back to, or at least at home, she's wearing like a full hood and stuff, and she's like kind of starting to cover herself up more and more.
Yeah.
She asked to be excused from the table, and her mum's, her mum knows something's up. Like you said, her mum's clearly, aware that something's up. Bridget goes to follow Ginger, but her mum takes her to one side, and she's like, look, I want to know what is going on. Like, what is happening? Tell me. But of course she drags her into the kitchen, which is where she sees the flower, right? The monk's hood.
Yeah.
And she's like, where did you get that? And she's like, oh, it's from a boutique shop. They don't sell it. It doesn't grow naturally around here, but they get it in.
Yes, it's like one of her arts and craft projects or something, I think she says.
Yeah. And she says, look, the principals, the police are looking for Ginger. Like, what they want to talk to her about this missing girl. What happened? And Bridget says, like, she was picking on me. So Ginger beat her up, and her mum's like, what? So that makes it okay? Is it? She's just beating people up? Is that okay? And her mum says, do you think I should talk to her and check in? And Bridget says she thinks it's cool to keep us guessing or something like, or to leave us to figure it out.
Yeah.
And her mum's like super happy about that. She's like, oh, I wondered if that approach was working. She's like, yeah, I thought that might be the way to go.
Yeah.
So Bridget heads upstairs, out to presumably to the outhouse, to the toilet, where she finds Ginger's thinking about cutting her tail off, or trying to cut her tail off.
Yeah.
And she says, I killed animals. B. She's like, the only thing that worked was killing things. It's the only thing that will kind of satiate my hunger, and I just have to kill. That's all I can do. And Bridget says, well, I've got this monk's hood now. We can do something with this. And this is the first time where Ginger actually breaks down and starts crying on her, and she's like, I need help. I'm scared. She's actually being honest with her sister again for the first time. In presumably a week or so. And you see Bridget's now sleeping with a baseball bat. She's like holding a baseball bat in bed, ready just in case. And of course, the next morning I think is Halloween day, right? Because the radio says it's Halloween.
Halloween, Halloween parties and all that sort of stuff.
That's right. And Bridget watches Ginger go to the toilet, and then grabs the bat and puts it up against the door to basically lock her inside. And she's like, look, I'm going to go get the cure. We're going to work it out. You can't hurt anybody if you stay in there. So just stay in the bathroom, and I'll get you later. She's like, you're going to rat me out. You're going to rat me out. And she's like, no, like, he still doesn't know that it's you. Like, he doesn't know anything. So she heads off with the monk's hood, leaving Ginger in the bathroom, locked in the bathroom,
basically smashing on the, just being incredibly angry.
Yes, yeah. So Sam is like super surprised to see that she's managed to get monk's hood. He's like, where the hell did you find that? But he's like, well, look, it'll need to be as direct as possible. So I think we'll need to inject it.
Yep.
And he's like, but the trouble is, that's a terrible idea. We don't really know what this stuff does. We don't know what dosage to give. Like, it would be a guess at best. Like, it's a terrible, terrible idea. And he says, there could be side effects. Like, we have no idea. And he's like, you should not try this alone. But of course Bridget says, well, look, I'll have my sister with me. I won't be doing it alone. My sister will be with me. Meanwhile, Ginger's cramps are getting worse and worse, and she's, really, really struggling. I think it cuts back to her a couple of times, doesn't it? As they're making the formula.
Yeah.
And then I think at one point you see her knocking the wall, don't you? You see she's got like bloodied hands, and she's been like pounding on the wall and scratching the wall, and
she's altering even more now. She's beginning.
Yes,
that her hair is, practically white at this point,
and
she's got the around
eyes
her eyes
starting to go.
She's getting more pronounced sort of folds in her eyes, and her nose is beginning to look a little bit more, I guess, canine, I suppose you could say.
Yeah. Sam says, you could kill her if you get this wrong. And Bridget kind of looks at him, and he's like, it's for your sister. Like, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
She's clearly the one. And, he's just concerned,
Yeah.
So, anyway, of course, Ginger manages to escape. And she goes looking for Jason. She walks up to some of the jocks, and she's like, where's Jason? And they're like, yeah, you've got some blood on your forehead. And she just kind of laughs it off like they're being funny. And then she flashes them and says, "Hey, you coming to the party?" Like, you know. Of course, the teacher's like, "Get in my office," because he comes past and obviously sees this. He's like, "Get in my office now."
Yeah.
Bridget's running to try and find, or trying to. I think at this point she knows that Ginger's not there, so she's kind of running looking for Ginger.
Yeah.
When she runs into Jason, who presumably is about to eat a child.
Yes.
Because he's got this kid.
I think he's dressed as a dog, I think, isn't he? He's dressed as like a Dalmatian or something.
Oh, okay. I thought he was dressed as a cow. So yeah, Dalmatian makes more sense.
Oh, I thought it was a Dalmatian. But yeah.
No, I think you're right. Dalmatian makes more sense to me than cow. So he's like, "Oh yeah, woman, that's even better." And he goes to get her. Takes her to the ground, but of course she's got the cure, and she sticks it in his neck and injects him. And pretty much immediately starts to work. As he stands up and he's immediately like, "Oh, I have class. I need to go." And he just kind of like he just wanders off. So she's kind of happy. She's like, "Oh, we have found some kind of cure here," you know. And yeah, so Bridget heads for the school. She can hear noises coming from the counselor's office as she walks past.
Yeah.
She knocks on the door, and she can hear then obviously Ginger opens the door and pulls her in. And we see the counselor is very dead. Because she was called their mum, I guess.
Yeah. Well, did she say his mum or did he say the police? I can't remember which ones he says.
Well, I thought it was the mum because she was flashing people in school.
Oh, yeah.
But by this point, as you said, her eyes have completely gone now. She's really looking, you know, gone. And she talks about how they're going to lock her up, and Bridget just says, like, you know, we can get this fixed, and you know, I have a cure. We just need to make more of it. Like, it'll work. And she's like, "Well, why cure me so I can go to jail for the rest of my life? Like, you know, like, look, I've just murdered someone." And Bridget says, "Well, look, we'll wait until everyone leaves, and then we'll clean this up somehow. You know, we'll figure it out." And she says, "You know, I think you fucked up enough." She's like, "I think you've done enough right now."
Yeah.
And of course, you know, meanwhile, what's going on now? Isn't it? This is where the mother, the dad Henry finds the fingers, doesn't he? He's like, "Oh my god!" And she's just like, "Oh, they're fake, you idiot. They're just for the playing dead thing. You know, don't be silly."
But when she's putting it in the I love the way she puts it in the Tupperware box. Yes. And she's doing the whole like making sure it's sealed and stuff, and making sure it's put in there right. But you can tell by her expression that she knows they're not.
She knows there's something going on there.
They are definitely not fake. They are real fingers.
Yeah. Like you said, the whole movie, she's kind of aware of more than she lets on with the kids. And she
does. I mean, you do see her a bit later. She goes back and she does dig up.
Oh yeah,
she does find the body.
Yes, yeah. I think she just didn't want her husband to have to worry. Don't want to mess his meal up or anything, you know.
No.
And yeah, so back at school, Bridget leaves Ginger in the office, and she says, you know, lock the door. I'll be back in a minute. And she heads off. And doesn't she steal the the caretaker's trolley? Doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I remember rightly, to get the cleaning materials to start cleaning up the dead body. But of course, she heads off. The caretaker makes the mistake of trying to open the counselor's door, and of course, in doing so, unfortunately ends up getting attacked. And of course, as Bridget comes around the corner, caretaker's covered in blood. He's bleeding from the neck. He's kind of whimpering and screaming. And
it says basically
she
you know,
starts.
doesn't like, basically calls him a perm and says that she doesn't like the way he looks at her. And
Well, she picks up his body and you know he's still screaming and she's like, "Oh, hey, Bridget, can I see your boobies and stuff?" She's like fucking, you know, playing with him like he's a doll, you know.
Yeah.
And she says, "I don't like the way he looks at you." And Bridget's like, "I don't think he looks at me in any way. I think he's just an innocent man, you know." And she says, "Look, you know, you haven't killed him. He's starting to turn. Let's get him some help, you know." And this is the point at which Bridget's like, "This is done now. You know, we've gone too far.
The point of no return has been reached."
Yes, and I think Ginger can see it on Bridget's face as well. It's the point of no return. And she says, like, you know, Bridget, it feels so good. Like, it's better than touching yourself.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what she says. But something about being right on the point.
Yeah.
And it's fireworks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Bridget says, you know, you're fucked. She says, you're just fucked. And she says, oh, you know, all we have to do is scratch and swap some juice, and then it'll be, you know, you and me forever. And she said, Bridget says, I'd rather be dead than be what you are. And I love this bit because Ginger says, you know, we had a pact. You know, we were gonna, you know, die together or live forever. And she says, no, you said you'd die with me because you had nothing better to do.
Yeah,
it was never the pact was never we would die together. That's what Bridget said.
Yeah.
What Ginger actually said was, I had nothing better to do.
Yeah.
And Ginger kind of retorts. She's like, "What, do you think I want to go back to being a nobody like you? You know?" And she says, "You know, stay the hell away from me." You know, and kicks her, and then storms off. Meanwhile, as you said, the mother digs and finds the body, and heads off. Bridget runs down the road trying to stop the jocks because of course Ginger said she's going to the party, didn't she?
Yeah.
And she tries to pull over some jocks, but they're having none of it. And finally, her mum pulls up beside her, and she says, "You know, where's your sister?" And she says, "You know, she's at the party." And they're like, "Right, get in, and let's deal with this. Time for mum to deal with it." So at the party, of course, now it's Halloween, so she can get away with looking how she looks.
Yeah. Yeah, and at this point, she's changed so much now. She has, like, other nipples growing. She has, you know, multiple nipples. She's becoming more, much more.
Her nose is changing as well, and like she's completely. Her face is really changing. She's got the white hair, like you said. And of course, Sam, obviously, it's because it's his party, right?
Yes, it is his greenhouse place or whatever it is where he grows his weed and stuff.
Yeah. So she goes up and she's like, "Oh, hey, you know," he's like, "Hey, do you want some weed?" And she undoes her top, and like you said, you can see that she's got the extra nipples now and whatnot. She's approaching. Her mum pulls up outside and says, "Look, you know, go and get your sister." And she's like, "You know, you've done something terrible." Her mum's like, "You've done something terrible, but you're my tiny babies. Go and get Ginger, and we'll figure it out." You know.
Yeah. And she basically says, well, "We're gonna burn down the house and we'll start again somewhere else."
Yeah.
And we're just like, "Well, what about Dad?" And she's like, "Oh, he'll just blame me."
Yeah. Yeah, I think the mum is so good in this movie.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
It's a really good performance. So meanwhile, Ginger is trying it on with Sam. Sam is you know, resisting her to a point.
Yeah.
Ultimately he does, you know, he sort of says, you know, "Get off of me," but he's you know, he kind of lets it go for a little bit, and then he's like, "Get off of me," and then kind of pushes her away.
Yeah, he realizes this is not a good idea.
No.
Cooler heads, prevail.
Yeah. She breaks his arm, and just as Bridget comes in, and Bridget's like, "You bitch, you're hurting everybody, you're taking everyone away from me." And she's finally had enough. She picks up a silver knife, doesn't she? And she's like, because Ginger says, "Oh, you can't be like me. You don't even know what it's like to be me." And she cuts her hand, and she's like, "Right, you wrecked everything in life. It's not about because she wrecked everything in my life that isn't about you. So now I'm like you." And she cuts her wrist, and they do the pact, and now they've swapped blood.
Yeah. But much to Sam's horror.
Yeah, well, Sam's begging her not to.
Yeah.
And of course, by this point, Bridget's whole face is completely changed, and she looks totally different now. She's looking more and more monstrous.
Yep.
So Bridget tries to take Ginger out. They kind of finally escape through the dance floor and head out the back. And she says, like, I can't make it. I'm turning too fast. But of course, as she turns around, Sam whacks her in the face with like a pipe or something, or a hockey stick.
He hits her with a shovel.
Oh, it was a shovel. That's right.
Yeah, he knocks her out with a shovel.
And she's like, "You idiot! Like, we have a cure. We just need to get it. We just need to take her back home." And now you've knocked her. He's like, "Oh shit! I didn't know. Like, I didn't realize."
He's like, "Why didn't you say something?"
And she's like, "Oh look, just fucking help me, okay? Get your truck and drive us home." And he's like, "Yeah, fine," but she's riding in the back. It's like, yeah, well, that's fair enough. And Sam, on the trip back, he's like, "You need a doctor. This is crazy." And she shows him her hand, which obviously is already healed now. And he says, "You could have killed." And she's like, "No, my sister needed me. She can be healed." And I think even he says, "I think you're kidding yourself. Like, I don't think this is going to work." And meanwhile, of course, in the back of the van, unbeknownst to them, she is now fully transforming, and some real body horror shots here. Some real good.
I think it's really well done.
I think so.
You get the sort of the skin popping and
the face, that kind of contorted face.
Yeah, it's really grim. And it's like I said before, it is full on body horror. It's full on Cronenberg stuff here, where it's not a pleasant change in any way, and it's not even your usual werewolf stuff. It's a full on grotesque, metamorphosis.
Yeah, I think it's really well done, especially considering the budget. I think a lot of the effects of this movie are very impressive for the budget.
It's like a 4 minute budget, I think.
Yeah, which is it's pretty impressive. It looks more expensive than it is for most of the shots. There's a couple of shots that look a bit cheaper, but for the most part, Anyway,
I think they use darkness well. Let's put it that way.
They do. The shot, weirdly enough, the shot with Jason and the child in the park, that to me looks straight up soap opera style filmed. It's weird. It kind of stands out, almost like they might have shot that separately later or something.
It does.
Use a different camera or something. It looks weird. But anyway, Ginger escapes, or what's left of Ginger escapes from the back of the van as they pull up to the house. And effectively from this point on, it's a slasher movie now. It's a monster movie. And they're getting chased around the house, her and Sam. Of course, the place is totaled. And so Sam's like, "Okay, we're gonna start making what we need," because of course the monk's hood is also here. So the plan is to start making it, but of course with the added tension of Ginger is now in the house somewhere. So they managed to get get at least another dose together. And of course they struggle because Sam's got a broken arm, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's kind of insisting on doing it, but she's like, you can barely move your arm. I'm gonna have to do it. Ginger then tries to come through the door, and Sam kind of has to hold the door back to try and keep her from getting through. And I think, does Sam get grabbed? I can't remember what happens at this point.
Yeah, they try to find her, and he gets grabbed, doesn't he?
He gets grabbed from the pantry, doesn't he? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
I think that's what happens. But in any case, it at this point on, it's a slasher movie, effectively, for the remainder of the film. It's Bridget running around, trying to avoid Ginger. She finds the syringe on the floor, luckily, in a pool of blood, but she finds the syringe. And of course, so now she has the syringe, and she also has the silver knife.
Yeah.
She follows a trail of blood, Sam's blood, down the stairs, until eventually she manages to find Ginger, who is now fully transformed, and we see full wolf form. I think it looks, for the most part, great.
It's great. I think, as you said, I think the only part it looks,
it's one shot.
Is it the shot where she sort of jumps up onto the? Is it a table or something? There's a bit where she jumps up on the thing. It looks a little wonky, but
it's actually for me it was when it's a shot when she walks directly kind of towards camera, and you can tell it's just a person in a suit at that point.
Right. Yeah.
Other than that, I actually think it works pretty goddamn well. I think
I
love the shots pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for the most part, I don't know how much of it was some of it might have been puppets as well, but I think it's really good. I think it holds up really, really well for the most part. And other than a few wonky shots, I love it. I think it looks great. I'm so glad they went practical. It just looks so much better.
Yeah,
because I think on their budget, if they'd have gone the CG route, it would have been like you said, American Werewolf in Paris. It would have been that. I think
it would have been awful. It would have been
terrible.
I mean, the acting still would have been great, but it would have would have been real bad.
That's not an issue.
No, but I think this being practical.
How good's the acting in American Werewolf in Paris? It's been such a long time since I've seen it.
I don't think it's great, but I haven't seen it since forever. So
Julie Delpy in it, hasn't it? If I remember rightly.
I honestly would have to. I haven't watched that movie since. I think I've seen it only once, actually. So
I think I've seen it more than once, but yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
So she finds Sam as well, and obviously he's bleeding, and she starts Bridget starts to drink his blood, as does Ginger, but finally Bridget's like, I can't do this, and so she gets chased by Ginger in full wolf form, and some really well shot kind of tense scenes when she drops the syringe. She's got to try and find the syringe again. And finally she ends up cornered by Ginger. I think they're back in the bedroom, aren't they?
But you get that scene where she comes in and Ginger's over Sam, and Bridget sort of makes out that she's gonna.
I just said that she drinks. She does drink some of the blood, doesn't she? She drinks a little bit.
But she could, yeah.
I think she's trying to find common ground, isn't she, with Ginger?
Yeah.
I think. I think most of these shots really work surprisingly well, considering the budget and the age of the movie. And I think practical is what saves it for sure. But yeah, like I said, they get chased. Or she gets chased. Sorry. Into their bedroom.
Yeah.
Where. Ginger corners her, and she's got the syringe in one hand, the knife in the other, and of course, Bridget says, "I'm not dying in this room. I'm not going to do it." and Ginger lunges at her, and she falls back. And I guess, unfortunately, it wasn't the syringe; it was the knife.
Yeah.
She stabbed her in the chest, or at least, I guess, Ginger fell on the knife.
Yeah.
And stabbed her through the chest. And I think it's a really sad it's a really sad ending when she's like lying on her as she's just breathing her last breath. And then it just cuts to credits.
It's really sad, and it's beautifully done. It's
beautiful and really sad. Yeah.
Again, Emily Perkins' expressions and her
wonderful.
Her acting is so wonderful in this. It's great, and both and Catherine Isabel as well. They're both wonderful actresses. They do such a bloody good job in this. It's really sad and really sort of a final end for Ginger. And
yes,
although I don't think it needed a sequel,
no, it definitely didn't.
It is a sort of you do sort of think, well, what for Bridget now, because she's infected. And
yeah, I mean, I guess I just assumed, well, she knows the cure.
Yeah,
you know,
and it certainly worked for. It seemed to work for. She's not going to be that far along yet.
No, exactly, because it worked for Jason.
It seemed to work for Jason, so yeah. Maybe it would have been a case of, she cures herself. I mean, how she would have explained all the deaths and all the. I mean,
that is the problem with the sequel to this movie, isn't it? It's like, how do you explain any of this without just ending up in prison?
Yeah.
But that.
And the thing is, I remember liking the sequel. I think the sequel was pretty good.
I really feel like I want to rewatch them now.
Yeah, I'd like to go back and give them both another try. But I think
they're definitely lesser. But I don't remember them being awful.
No, they're not. They're not bad movies. They're just not as good. And I think I'd recommend to any horror fan. I think this.
Absolutely, this is well worth your time.
And certainly one of the best werewolf movies.
It's definitely up there.
It's a great werewolf movie, and also just a great, coming of age movie as well. It's a great movie for the changes that people go through.
Mm.
So the sequels, I do remember that there were bits I liked about the sequel that to do with the character of Ghost, the girl.
Oh, yeah.
I do quite like the ending. It's fucking bleak, but it's quite a good ending. But yeah, I would highly recommend this. The other two, I would say, give them a go as well, because they are still good. They're just.
I think if you're a fan of this movie, then watch the other two. Yeah. It's worth watching. They're not like awful,
No, they're not.
Considering some other horror franchises, like Candyman sequels, for example. But this is one where the sequels are watchable. They're not too bad.
And they don't sort of. I don't think they do anything to damage
not at all.
The first movie at all.
At least not as far as I remember. So
no.
But in any case, that was Ginger Snaps. We will be back next week with our usual modern movies. Need to watch some modern films. But until then, stay safe, take care, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.